In the mid-1920s, Merrick was a sleepy village with a population of several hundred people. Though small, Merrick had a post office, a railroad depot, a general store, and a blacksmith shop. Soon, they were to have their first Catholic church.
The parish was named for St. John Vianney, the Curé of Ars. John Vianney was a French priest who lived in the end of the 18th century, first half of the 19th century in France. He was sent as the parish priest, as the curé, to the small town of Ars, and there he was their parish priest and lived his entire life just caring for the people, dealing with their everyday needs, with their spirituality, and just generally ministering to them. And he was canonized, he was declared a saint in 1925. And this parish was then established in 1926. So we were the first parish in the United States to be named for John Vianney.
When the church was being built, I remember my mother telling me that they bought bricks. It was during the Depression, so people were not too well off. And each brick was 10 cents. And you could sign the brick for 10 cents, and that went into the building of the church.
A lot of the men were out of work for periods of time. It was the Depression. And I know a lot of them spent a lot of time. It's one of those things everybody talked about how the men of the parish built the church.
When Curé of Ars was established in 1926, it was elevated from the status of mission to an independent parish. Archbishop Thomas Edmund Malloy appointed Father Arthur Leonard the first pastor. Beginning with fewer than 300 parishioners, Father Leonard began the task of building a new parish and a new parish church.
The original church ended here, 1928. Then in the succeeding 3 years, the final part of the church was added, these two bays of windows and the transepts. And what was the old sanctuary, the old high altar, went beyond this panel, beyond this glass screen where we see this crucifix. So the original sanctuary was behind there, up on a series of steps.
Though there was much enthusiasm among the early parishioners for the new parish, there were unseen obstacles in this seemingly quiet town.
Well, I think that it's important to know that the Catholic Church in Merrick did not have it easy establishing, that it wasn't easy for Father Leonard to come here and to establish this church. It was frightening.
Quiet and peaceful as Merrick seemed in 1931, local members of the Ku Klux Klan were determined to stop the building of a new Catholic church. Their weapon was fear. Burning a cross on the lawn in the front of Father Leonard's rectory sent a clear message to his growing parish. But rather than run, the men of the parish took turns at night guarding the rectory, protecting Father Leonard and the church that they had begun to build with him.
My father was one of the men who stayed with him, and there were others. They brought their hunting dogs and they stayed with Father Leonard for many nights until it quieted down. But the Ku Klux Klan was very active in Merrick.
The population of Merrick rose in the 1930s, and so did the population of the Curé of Ars parish. And as this population rose, church organizations began, and the community life of the church developed. No event helped the early parish community like the appearance of the Ars Hippodrome.
The Hippodrome was a collection of buildings that was used for social and educational purposes.
The Hippodrome has a lot of history. It's originated as a barracks in Mitchell Field that was used there during World War I. And after the war was over, there was no longer any need for it. And they offered the barracks to anybody that wanted to take them. So a whole group of men left from the parish here, went up there, dismantled it, brought it down here, and reassembled it.
And they used to have basketball. They did a lot of things in that building. And they had plays.
The Hippodrome was the center of parish life and activity for many years. Though the Hippodrome did not survive the 1940s, in its time it played a major role in unifying this ever-growing parish. As the 1930s slipped into the 1940s, a new pastor, Reverend John F. Cusack, took the reins of the Curé of Ars. It was a turbulent time when Father Cusack became pastor. Merrick and the world at large faced events which would test their resolve and their faith.
The war started for us after Pearl Harbor, which was December 7th, 1941. And at that point in time, I can remember some of the older boys leaving school before it was time to graduate so that they could voluntarily enlist in one of the services. And I'm not sure whether Harry Chinooker left before he graduated or whatever, but he was aboard the Arizona when it was shot down and sunk in Pearl Harbor. The entire high school emptied out the day they were having a memorial service for Harry down here at Curé.
At the end of the Second World War, a statue of Mary was erected and dedicated to a generation that had faced the trials of World War II. That statue still stands, a testament to those early parishioners who made that sacrifice.
After the war, Father Cusick passed away, and we had a new pastor came in, Father O'Keefe. He said Mass the first Sunday he was here. Next week he had a stroke, and he laid in bed for many, many years. And two young curates were assigned here, Father Daly and Father Range. And they organized the church here and ran everything beautifully.
After the war, Merrick and Curé of Ars grew as in no other time in its history. Veterans and their families flooded into the parish, bringing new vitality and new needs. Weddings, confirmations, and communions transformed from the slower pace of earlier times to the needs of a growing population. The growth of the parish population gave ever-increasing work to the pastors and the growing legions of associate parish priests. To accommodate the new young families who were settling in the parish, a cornerstone for a new school was laid. And on September 17, 1951, nearly 600 students in grades 1 through 6, 11 sisters, and 2 lay teachers started the Curé of Ars Parish School. Overseen by pastors Martin Flynn and Francis Liller, the school and its students flourished, as did the parish at large.
And probably my first memory of Curé of Ars is coming to the first grade. That's where I started in 1951. The school wasn't quite completed when the opening day, so I remember doing studies in the church, sitting on the kneelers and writing on the pews for a couple of months, and then we went into our classroom.
From its opening in 1951 until it closed in 1992, Curé of Ars School brought quality education to the children of the parish. It was a vibrant part of the parish. The dedication of the sisters and lay teachers is still alive in the cherished memories of many alumni of the school. No one who has walked the halls of the Curé of Ars School will ever forget the years spent there. Due to an increasing population of parishioners and the needs for priests to minister to them, Monsignor Liller oversaw renovations to the church and the construction of a new rectory. That rectory was dedicated on June 7, 1960. The years following the new rectory's construction brought new challenges and new pastors. Following Monsignor Liller's death, the Reverend Stephen Cuddeback, Reverend William Costello, and Monsignor Edward Sweeney guided Curé of Ars through fruitful but trying times. Curé saw the baby boom generation move from communion to confirmation. The church and the Merrick community in general struggled to maintain its traditional optimism as the nation was torn by the events of a contested war in a faraway Asian nation. Through all of these and other difficult times, Curé of Ars maintained itself as a place of stability and moral direction for its parishioners, a place where all parishioners could come for solace, encouragement, and inspiration. The parish continued its mission through the 70s and 80s with inspired pastors, committed parishioners, and beloved traditions in place. Responding to the need for major renovations in the church, in 1991, Monsignor Sweeney moved Sunday Masses to the school auditorium and closed the church. Extensive renovations began, and on Palm Sunday 1992, the newly refurbished church reopened. Shortly after the reopening of the church, Monsignor Sweeney was reassigned. The next pastor was not a stranger to Curé of Ars. Monsignor James Swader had been the young Deacon Jim in the 1970s, but in 1992, he returned as the 9th pastor of the Curé of Ars parish. Monsignor Swader served as pastor with exceptional dedication, reinvigorating parish life and ministry for 9 years until his reassignment in June of 2001.
As I'm leaving Curé now, I think it's a healthy parish, a vibrant parish, an energetic parish. I mean, I have a great sense of affection for the parish, a great sense of my own history. Again, the parish where I first began my parochial ministry
the parish where I first took my steps toward priesthood, the parish that I thought has just been so good to me and the people. They're more than parishioners. So many of them have become very close personal friends. So I find the words don't capture it all. I guess on the 100th anniversary, I would ask people if things are still as strong and as vibrant and as enthusiastic as they were. Are people still as happy? I certainly hope they would be, and certainly think that they should be. But are people still as happy in their parish? Do they identify and enjoy their parish life? There's a great sense of enjoyment here, as well as loyalty. And I'd want to know, are they having a good time? You know, are they celebrating together? Are they enjoying their company, as well as are they praying together? Are they ministering to families in need? But also, are they having as good a time as I think this parish has a history of having a good time? The parish is very much the people, the communities, and the families that are here. And I think that's the strength of the parish.
When Monsignor Swader was reassigned, Curé received its 10th pastor, a man who grew up in Merrick, Father Jim Mannion. With renewed dedication, Father Mannion began his tenure at Curé with a church rich in tradition and service to the community. For 75 years, Curé of Ars Parish has been the focal point of the Catholic community in Merrick. The dedication to the parish by all who have come together has made Curé of Ars home to generations of parishioners. It is with this tradition and with that dedication that Curé of Ars forges its next 75 years and beyond.